At first glance, Arcane appears to be an innocent little animated series, adapted from a viciously competitive game. However, that falsified reality is quickly shattered as the plot got progressively darker, and a little awkward for family settings. There is no denying that Arcane was a monstrous hit for Netflix. It will probably go down in history as being one of the most successful video game adaptations. Calling it that, an adaptation, doesn't nearly do it justice. While some of us feel the nostalgia of seeing the champions we love on screen, people experiencing Runeterra for the first time are every bit as engaged. Arcane encompasses a critical trait that is shared in all successful modern films. So in this video, we are going to uncover the secret formula that allowed Arcane to succeed where many adaptations have failed. Welcome to an episode of Curiosity Cure. Like and subscribe for more quality content. The directors of Arcane made an auspicious choice to pick Piltover and Zong as the starting point of the series. This is by design and no mere accident. Of all the places they could have chosen, of all the 157 champion stories they could have told, they selected less than a dozen. All of whom possess no innate superpowers. Piltover and Zong might seem like a place that would underrepresent Runeterra as a whole. In fact, the whole premise is the opposite of what the rest of Runeterra represents. A fantasy world with a rich and diverse lore. Instead, throughout Arcane, we only get glimpses of the world outside of the two cities. However, by doing so, Arcane resonates with the audience in an impactful yet elusive manner. Over the past few years, there has been a fair number of game adaptations, all with varying levels of success. While we know how important it is for an adaptation to faithfully represent the original work, it can become challenging at times to execute on the big screen. Arguably, it is easier for books to be transitioned into a film, as it is just a matter of cutting down the book into a comprehensive manuscript. Or at least until the screenwriters run out of source material, and all hell breaks loose. While most video game adaptations do well to honor the original work in the graphical department, the plot, the world building, and the character development leave the viewer feeling hollow at times. From World of Warcraft to Blue Hedgehogs. In our findings, they all lack some crucial elements that result in the viewer being deprived of an immersive experience. Arcane, on the other hand, has a feeling of depth. The key component that is rarely seen in other adaptations is how effective Arcane's world building is conveyed to the audience. Throughout its entirety, Arcane follows a logical progression of events that is easy to comprehend. From the very starting moments when Vander saves the two girls, to them trying to make a name for themselves by ransacking an upscale Piltover neighborhood. It resonates with the viewer on an emotional level and takes the pressure off of the surrounding world. By doing so, the writers created a world that exists because of the characters, and not characters that exist because of the world. This is further enhanced by the fact that the show does tremendously well to establish characters through their actions, rather than giving long monologues purely for the understanding of the audience. For example, we can instantly recognize Vander as a supportive father figure, trying to do what's right in a less than desirable situation. Thinking back to our lives, most of us have that figure in our life, whether it's our parents, an uncle, or mentor, it is someone we can instantly relate to. All of a sudden, the world of Runeterra doesn't feel that distant from our own. Despite the pieces that clearly belong in the realm of science fiction, it is shadowed by character development. Because the characters are so realistic, as a byproduct, the world becomes equally as believable. This is carried over to how Arcane approaches magic. Unlike many other series that assume it as an intuitive art, Arcane approaches it with a level of subtlety not seen anywhere else. While it does mention that magic is an innate talent that is only available to those who are born with it. Other than brief flashbacks, we do not actually witness any throughout the series. Instead, we experience it in the form of a crystal conduit that channels arcane energy. Rather than carelessly throwing mages out in the open, the viewer is introduced to this world from the perspective of mere mortals, not unlike ourselves. Instead of relying on supernatural forces, we see a focus on science and innovation. This is the fundamental reason why Arcane is based in Piltover and Zong. Imagine if Arcane was based in any other region of Runeterra. While it would be interesting to explore Ionia or Noxus, it would overwhelm the audience with the world building alone, and would not be nearly as effective in immersing the viewer. In Arcane, almost every major character progresses towards something. Caitlyn becomes an enforcer. Jayce and VIktor pioneers Hextech. Silco becomes the ruling figure of Zong. Vi works with Piltover to stop Silco, and Jinx finds a new sense of belonging. Every single one of these characters comes from very little, and over the span of 9 episodes, we see all of them develop into their respective roles through the choices they make. And the very groundwork behind those choices is influenced by the politics and unique circumstances that the characters find themselves in. A few moments between the episodes, we get glimpses of how Piltover and Zong functions. The Piltovian government is mostly comprised of influential merchant clans, with a few notable exceptions. It is unclear how the council was first formed, but we know that to be elected onto the council requires the approval of current members. Traditionally there are 7 seats, And it appears that these 7 people have absolute authority over the legislative and executive decisions made over Piltover. While by no means is this a democratic process, we see that the members represent the interest of their respective allies. Without much explanation on the part of Arcane, we become aware of the political motivation of almost every member. For instance, we know that Melmedarda favors Jayce and VIktor because of their innovation. Mel is by far the most progressive member of the council. She prefers to judge a situation based on future prospects rather than the immediate gratification or consequence. However, unlike Mel, we recognize Haskell and Solo as members who are motivated by their personal gains. They are compelled by profit and have questionable moral compasses. Whereas Miss Karaman is someone who deeply values her family and will stop at nothing to protect them. Then we have Heimerdinger. He is likely the oldest member on the council. He supports innovation, but believes in the scientific method, and that inventions need time to be polished. However, as we see, that time comes at a cost. Jayce, in contrast, has the same progressive attitude as Mel. He believes in the future applications of his inventions and their ability to make lives better. Although he possesses nowhere near the same political prowess as Mel, he does appear to have a strong sense of righteousness. While the intricacy of political subtleties is often lost on him. Fortunately, with the guidance of Mel, he is able to proceed without making too many enemies and win the support of powerful clans. Little is known of the remaining 2 members as of yet. Bulbach and Shula evidently came from powerful backgrounds to be able to sit on the council. They tend to base their decisions on the reasonings of the other council members. This makes it unclear of their motives. Therefore, we will refrain from speculating on them right now. In Arcane, every aspect of the story is something that can be reflected in reality. From the character development to the political circumstances. It paints a 3-dimensional world for the audience. These attributes can be found in almost every successful film. There couldn't be a better series to prove our points than Game of Thrones. It encompasses both the good and the bad of an adaptation. It is a known fact that the earlier seasons were much stronger than the later ones, even though the later seasons are arguably more cinematically stimulating. The reason why viewers would enjoy simple conversations over dragons breathing fire onto King's Landing is because of its inherent intellectual value. We didn't tune into the film for fire and blood alone. We love the series for the subtle dialogues and the brutally realistic scenarios. Without all the progression leading up to the climax, it becomes nothing more than an empty shell. The reason why Arcane is so widely acclaimed is because of its ability to find the perfect harmony between the action and the logic, giving it a sense of believability and relatability. With a diverse range of characters, all with varying types of philosophical beliefs, we don't have to choose between our world views and that of the fictional realm of Arcane. There is something for everyone to relate to. Anyhow, that's all for today. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of Arcane. Thank you for tuning in. Please consider liking and subscribing. And as always, have a good day.